from the trust.
Only from the trust. Yep. The money is just taken from the trust. Yep.
I think that's all for now.
Okay.
Thank you. Good questions. All right. Move forward to Hunter and Lucy. So I was recently diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. This is Lucy. I have a good prognosis, but it got me thinking about what would happen to my son, who was determined disabled at birth, if I weren't here to care for him. His father passed away when he was 2, and his sister lives overseas. My friend told me I should talk to you. And again, these are just examples of calls that we might receive. So what would we think here? Well, the first thing is Lucy's not doing it for herself. She's looking out proactively for her son, who does have a disability and does receive benefits. So that leads us to the supplemental needs pooled trust, where she's going to set that up and what we call seed it. So there's just a bit of money there. And then upon her passing, that his inheritance would flow directly into that trust and be available to him without him having to worry at all about setting anything up or whether his benefits are going to be negated or anything like that. It's all taken care of for him. Now, another thing to think about here is if Lucy ends up not having any money for an inheritance, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. That seed money is there, and the trust will only last as long as the funds are available. So, yeah. Any questions there? All right. Lillian. So I recently received an inheritance from my grandmother who passed away last year. I'm not sure what to do with this money, but SSA is telling me that I need to do something with it soon or they'll cut off my benefits. She left me $22,000. Do I just spend it? I've been on SSI since I was 22. I don't know what to do. So there's a few different things to think about here. Any suggestions on where we might, what path we might follow?
I wouldn't think she'd want to spend it all unless she absolutely needs something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so based on what we've talked about, one option would be to set up a special needs pooled trust. However, one thing we haven't talked about is an ABLE account. Now, ABLE accounts are available for persons who have or receive their disability determination, not receive their determination, but were determined disabled. Well, Nate, maybe you can clear that up. Prior to their 26th birthday. So she received her determination when she was 22. That makes her eligible for an ABLE account. An ABLE account acts kind of like a pooled trust, only it doesn't have the trustee aspect. Lillian would be able to manage her own finances. There are checks and balances there that she would have to adhere to, but it gives a little bit greater control over that spending. ABLE accounts you can earn up to, or not earn, you can put up to $16,000 into an account annually. And you can have up to, we believe it's $100,000 in a total account. And that should be the case in I believe that's the case in North Dakota as well. It's different state to state for the maximum amount. Nate, would you like to say anything else about ABLE accounts?
No, yeah. So we use Minnesota ABLE, but there are North Dakota ABLE. You can cross state lines when you do that as well. So you could use individuals that live in North Dakota can have one in Minnesota. They're function a lot like 529 plans in that sense. So yeah.
LSS does not currently offer ABLE accounts. So again, this isn't a commercial. We're just talking about the facts. Right on. Any other questions about Lillian? So jumping back into this, if Lillian wanted to put 16,000 of that into an ABLE account, she could do so and then spend down what's left. She wouldn't be able to open a special needs pooled trust because it wouldn't get to that 10,000 limit. She could also juggle it if she wanted to put only 12,000 into an ABLE account and then do a $10,000 pool trust. So there are different ways that she could juggle. She'd have some options available to her.
So as a person who is, yeah, disabled before 26, they can do that at any time, or does it have to be up
Anytime. Yep.
even after they're like older?
Yeah. Yep.
Would
So if
still
I'm
people
if I'm
have to-
60,
Okay,
yeah, if I'm 60 and I got my determination when I was 20, I would be eligible for that if
Okay.
I received an inheritance or.
Okay.
Yeah, and one other thing, if individuals do open a trust, we have a handful of them that go directly every January. It's the calendar year for 1600s on a calendar year. So every January we dump 16,000 into it from the pooled trust, and that's the only action. So it's kind of the cheapest way to operate a pooled trust. So there is ways that we do that just to keep it, that's the goal for them, is they want that control. It's person focused, so they want to be able to control those dollars. So January 1st, we cut a check, dump it into the pooled trust or into the ABLE account, and then those individuals can use those funds at that time.
It's not that I mistrust anyone, but since we are talking about money, who actually has the oversight over you all?
Yeah, so we use a fiduciary to oversee the money. So Securian Trust Bank is our current bank, so they're the ones that are in charge of the money. And then, we are in a larger nonprofit. So Lutheran Social Services resides inside of, or the pooled trust resides into a larger nonprofit. So there's auditors and external auditors that come in and audit our books and look at that as well. So we have, dual control for all our checks and outgoing funds. And then the fiduciary also checks those things as well. And then we do an annual accounting to DHS, which is Minnesota Department of Health and Safety, and they review all of our accounts on an annual basis to ensure both that we're making distributions in the correct manner, so that doesn't jeopardize our benefits, and then obviously to say, hey, these accounts are looking good. So there's a lot of different checks and balances for our organization, and then the fiduciary as well has checks and balances.
Yeah. But that's the exact line of thought you'd want to go with, because yeah, this is our money. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Along that thought, is your company insured in any way, shape, or form to actually safeguard an individual's money?
Yes. Yep. We are insured and bonded. I will say that the money is invested in a basket of goods. So there is times where the principal will go down, and then principal will go up. Just like so, there is exposure to the stock, the greater market. So we don't insure against market losses, but any type of malfeasance or those type of things, it is licensed and bonded and insured in that sense. So if Ryan's a bad guy and he writes a check for $1 million to himself, the individuals would be remain whole. So, yep.
Any other questions? Great. Oh, we already did. All right, Patricio and Caroline. My older brother just received a large settlement from an accident that resulted in his losing a leg. He's also a vet who's been on SSDI for 3 years now. I'm being told that the settlement will move him off his benefits if he doesn't do something with that money soon. Does he really have to spend $175,000 in a month? That seems excessive. So, does anyone disagree with that? No. What would you say?
Unless you're looking at buying a house or something.
Yeah.
Well, you could always go to Vegas.
Oh, there you go. Double it. Yeah.
I said, JP. Yeah. I mean, what's a Ferrari now, right? It's got to be around that. You could get a Ferrari. Why not?
Yeah, all of those are viable options. So, but in
Probably
this case,
best to do a trust, I'm guessing.
yeah. So this would be a special needs trust. Yeah, and we aren't here to say that you shouldn't spend down. If somebody wants to go do that with their money, absolutely. This is just an option for people that is available to them. So,
but much better than losing all your benefits.
Yeah.
And spending down, having to get back on benefits.
Exactly. All right, so last one, Rose and Althea. My partner and I are working with LSS to do our end of life planning. We've decided that when we both have passed on, we'd like everything to go to our niece and nephew, but I'm not sure that they're able to manage their finances without help. They live in a group home up the road and both get some sort of benefits. I'm not sure what. How should we go about this? So what are your thoughts? What do we need to think about? Which way would we be leaning, toward a special or a supplemental? Well, for Rose and Althea, this would be a supplemental. This would be two supplementals because both of the grantees are, or both the beneficiaries are separate entities, so they would both get their own account there. Now, if Rose and Althea didn't get it set up proactively, it would be then, and the inheritance flowed directly to their niece and nephew, that would be a special needs account. Now, another thing to think about is if Rose and Althea started to fill out the paperwork for a supplemental and they put it in their will that it flowed, that they wanted that to happen, a kind of workaround there is that the person who is, or the representative of the estate could then set that up for them.
So what happens if it's just like a trust that's already been set up and like, yeah, they didn't take into consideration like if an individual is on benefits or something like that, that's their inheritance. What can those be changed?
You mean if the nephew and niece didn't have a disability determination?
Yeah, if they didn't already have a disability determination and they set up a trust for them or whatever, but it's not a supplemental trust or a special, or I don't know, or is that just how it works?
Yeah, there'd be a couple of things. So we don't currently take on.
You wouldn't handle those.
Sole trustee, we don't manage sole trustee trusts. So outside of the pool trusts that we offer and that people join on to, we don't currently. We are looking into that. We're hoping to have a few by the end of the year, but probably pretty simple ones. You guys in North Dakota get some fun stuff going on with your trust.
Well, that's what I'm thinking with all the oil
You know, right,
that we have going on
weird
in the
stuff.
state.
Brands
are
and
doing
all,
those
yeah,
trusts, you
yeah.
know, to family members. And
Yeah.
if they're not taking into consideration that somebody has a disability or something like that, is that going to harm those?
So we see a couple different ways. One, we're working on that because there is some very complicated issues going on. So we're working on that because we want to help those individuals. We're seeing a lot of those individuals in that area. If it is there, say it is locked in and they want to move to a pooled trust, a court order or court action can dissolve some trusts. So judges can do have powers to supersede some of those in certain cases, especially if it's in like this and there's a pertinent reason to do so. So we do see court actions. Some of them are even sole trustees where the individual made a good effort to start a supplemental trust, and then the trustees or the people that are in charge of it that aren't corporate trustees just don't want to do it anymore. They can't deal with it. A lot of them have clauses to roll to a pooled trust. So we would just need to look at the current trust document to ensure that it can roll. So there's definitely some options. So I would say, especially since we're kind of moving into that world, if you guys do have it, feel free to send it to myself or to Ryan, and we can kind of analyze and check and say like, hey, yeah, you got to talk to an attorney. This one looks a little complicated, or nope, that one might be a good fit. We can roll it, or kind of advise people on that way. So, so yeah, that would probably be my advice in that arena, is ask for advice and we'll do our best to see.
Right. Yeah.
On those. We heard some stuff about
different, I'm sure, but yeah, it's
yeah.
like you hear a lot of those trusts being set up now, and then I'm like, who takes into consideration that somebody may have a disability or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And the laws changed, like our 65 plus thing was this last year. So, where they would have said, oh, it doesn't apply because it won't happen. Now the laws have changed. So, they do leave room for that to happen. So, yep.
All right. Any other questions about pooled trusts or even an ABLE account? Oh, all right, good. Well, we are at the end here. If you ever have any questions, here are some other things that we can speak to. Again, this is not a commercial. This is just saying these are things that we know about. So if you would like to reach out and ask more about supportive decision making, we're happy to have that conversation with you. So here is our contact information if you'd like to learn more, or if you find yourself in the circumstance where someone says, hey, my mom died, I'm getting money, I don't want to lose my benefits, there's an answer. So feel free to reach out to us, and even if you aren't going with LSS, we're happy to chat about it and just explore options, because we don't want people to be in the circumstance where they feel like they have to let that money burn a hole in their pocket. There are other alternatives. So with that, if there's no other questions, I think we are good to go. I'll give you quite a bit of time back.
Well, thank you so much, because that's a lot of good information. There's always questions around money stuff, and it's a good place. Good to know that there's places to shoot people to, because it's I have no idea when it comes to that kind of stuff. So perfect.
We're happy to have things bounce off us. So yeah, feel free to, if you got anything, bounce it off us. And if we can fit, it'll be a great fit. If not, then we'll just, say sorry. We
always have another place or a suggestion. Yeah, too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to point you in the right direction. If it's not us, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So, all right.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a great rest of your day.
You
Thank you very
too.
much.
I do have one question.
Can you?
No, this is just for you. Can you send the email addresses that corresponds with their businesses? Again, I do send whatever information I get to the people in Grand Forks and East Grand Forks. They're TBI survivors, and I also send it to Sharon Lutheran Church, or excuse me, Calvary Lutheran Church, which has a memory cafe for basically Alzheimer's folks. And I try to send information out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. And another thing that I didn't mention is that I'm happy to come and do these sorts of presentations outside of COVID most of the day. I'm happy to come and give these presentations to groups exactly like what you're talking about. That is part of one of the more enjoyable parts of my role is getting to interact in the community. So I'm happy to come to you and make sure that people are aware of these options. So yeah,
we're getting back to that now, thankfully, right?
Yeah. Oh gosh, fingers crossed we better. So yeah. So yeah, if JP, is there a way to get him that information?
I'll get information to JP.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.